Just a couple of quick points to add to that. I think we've been trying to aggregate some of the learning as well around the region, and a lot of that information available at the back in some of the publications. But just around enterprise viability and that type of thing, I think one of the things we've been looking at is the nature of grant dependency that exists within a lot of the enterprises that we have, especially the ones we have more historic relationships with. The phone's going again. I think, you know, we're finding that grants not only kind of lower the operating costs and create a risk in the case of the removal or the termination of those grants, but it also shapes the nature of the relationship between the organizations that are involved, in the sense of kind of Oxfam maybe historically having a reputation of being the giver and the enterprises being the beneficiary of those donations or of those grants. And I think we need to look at the examples in particular of what's been happening in Alpina, of considering those enterprises and those associates of being co-investors in these types of initiatives. We've also been looking around the region and trying to understand the different types of enterprises that we've been working with. We do have a wide range of enterprises, and they have different needs in terms of financial services, different needs in terms of technical services. So we've been trying to build kind of an idea behind, with the ecosystem that we'll talk about later, but trying to build more specialized, more appropriate types of business development services, for example, for very small enterprises, perhaps for people that are less literate or less advanced in their math skills, for example. The last thing that I wanted to mention as well, which is not specific to the business, but it's about the lack of a culture of due diligence within the organization, that I think sometimes we don't always fully appreciate or fully understand the types of organizations that we're supporting. So we've been developing a process of feasibility study, which would be a kind of a longer initial engagement with these enterprises so that we can understand them, they can understand us, and that we can develop kind of appropriate relationships and appropriate types of support to those relationships.